The biggest secret in the entertainment industry that really wasn't a secret at all has finally been revealed to the world.
There's new allegations against Sean P. Diddy Combs. A Texas attorney says he now represents, get this, 120 alleged victims, male and female.
The conduct we will describe today occurred over more than 20 years. There are many people and many entities involved. And we're going to follow this evidence wherever it takes us. We will find the silent accomplices. We will expose the enablers who enabled it.
The revelation made by Tony Busby, the well-known attorney for Diddy's purported victims, has shocked the legal community and may make Diddy fearful while he is inside.
The day will come when we will name names other than Sean Combs, and there's a lot of names. It's a long list already. And of course, I already know who some of these individuals are, but because of the nature of this case, we're going to make damn sure that we're right before we do that. But the names that we're going to name, assuming that our investigators confirm and corroborate what we've been told, are names that will shock you.
You guys, this is the guy behind the Travis Scott class action lawsuit after all those deaths at Astral World. Tony Busby, he's the guy that did most of the Deshaun Watson. Not everybody in the Houston courtroom system has tight lips, right? So these names are out there, they will come out, and this is just the beginning. I mean, this guy is a bulldog. Think about Gloria Allred, how what she stands for the types of cases that she's involved in around the world with women. That's Tony Busby for these high-profile cases that have a lot of juice behind them. So I'm grateful that he's the attorney because he's fearless. Imagine the death threats coming at this guy, but he refuses to back down. And I think that he's the biggest advocate for the victims of Diddy, and which are scores.
Tony Busby, who is well known for using forceful legal strategies, has been leading this case and asserting that there could be up to 300 civil lawsuits against Diddy. After thorough screening, his staff has apparently received over 3,000 calls since his October news appearance. According to Busby, between 100 to 150 cases, it is feasible to pursue these accusations, which date back more than 20 years, involve both men and women, and allege horrible crimes like trafficking and intoxication.
Yeah, Rashi, attorney Tony Busby says he's been contacted by 3,285 people who say they are victims of Sean Combs. And after some vetting, Busby says he now represents 120 of those people who will file civil lawsuits against P. Diddy. And that number includes 60 men and 60 women, and also include 25 children. Now, I will tell you, some of these accusations are pretty disturbing.
There's new allegations against Sean P. Diddy Combs. A Texas attorney says he now represents, get this, 120 alleged victims, male and female, adults and children, whose allegations span more than 30 years. The accounts of the alleged victims have not been fully vetted, but their claims involve drug-fueled assaults similar to what the feds described in their criminal indictment of the music mogul. Diddy's currently sitting in a federal jail awaiting trial on.
However, the numbers point to a larger pattern of alleged misconduct, a narrative that Busby has effectively communicated in prior high-profile cases like those involving American football player Dessa Watson and the Boy Scouts of America. The magnitude of the accusations against Diddy has left his legal team frantically attempting to refute what they characterize as a reckless media circus.
You may have heard the news that Jay-Z has been named in a recent Diddy lawsuit from Tony Busby. In that lawsuit, it's accusing Jay-Z of being one of the male celebrities that are a 13-year-old girl. Well, Jay-Z responded, and we did a separate video talking about that, so check out that video. Well, now Tony Busby is responding and basically saying that Jay-Z was the high-profile celebrity that was recently suing him. So Tony Busby says this in a statement: regarding the Jay-Z case and his efforts to silence my clients, Mr. Carter previously denied being the one who sued me and my firm. He filed this frivolous case using a pseudonym. What he fails to say in his recent statement is my firm sent his lawyer a demand letter on behalf of an alleged victim, and that victim never demanded a penny from him. Instead, she only sought a confidential mediation. What would be the result of that mediation? Since I sent the letter on her behalf, Mr. Carter has not only sued me, but has tried to bully and harass me and this plaintiff. His conduct has had the opposite impact. She is emboldened. I'm very proud of her resolve. As far as allegations in the complaint filed, we will let the filing speak for itself and will litigate the facts in court, not in the media.
We intend to name people in these lawsuits. We're not going to do it in interviews. We're not going to do it, without doing our due diligence, because obviously, these types of allegations are very hurtful to people if they're not true, and very hurtful, frankly, if they are true. But if they're true, you shouldn't have been in the room and you shouldn't have been participating. So I anticipate that we're going to start filing lawsuits, and it may not be big names at first, but we have a long list of names, and you might imagine in situations like this that when a victim tells us that this person was in the room or this person participated, we want to do as much due diligence as humanly possible before we file that case, because in the United States, in almost every state, public filings are in fact public, and when you name somebody in a lawsuit, the press is going to pick it up, and we're aware of that. So we're going to make sure that we dot our I's and cross our T's, and I expect that there will be some people named in these lawsuits.
According to lawyer Busby, 25 minors have sued COMS on their own, each alleging grave misbehavior. These cases, which were filed alone rather than as a class action suit, demonstrate how distinct and very personal each victim's claims are. Busby underlined that this method enables a comprehensive analysis of the victim's experience, giving them the chance to provide precise evidence and testimony that supports their accusations.
25 of the 120 individuals who are plaintiffs in these cases were minors at the time of the acts complained of. The time frame of the acts complained of is very wide. The conduct at issue spans from the years 1991 all the way till this year, 2024. If you wonder why there are so many alleged victims, that's your answer. We're talking about more than 25 years of this type of conduct.
These stories paint a grim picture of a so-called party culture allegedly fostered by Diddy, which Busby describes as one where anything goes. Among the disturbing claims are those of a woman who claims Diddy mistreated her in 2004 when she was a 19-year-old college student, and another horrific case involving a young boy who claims he was drunk and coerced into performing inappropriate acts at the age of 10.
Kennedy claims the footage was playing on a continuous loop in Diddy's Tokyo hotel room during the 2000 interaction, and further alleged that the rapper was on the phone with J-Lo, whom he was dating at the time. Rachel said on the Daily Mail's The Trial of Diddy podcast that she found the entire situation quite odd, and further described it as creepy and disrespectful. Rachel and her two friends had been invited to Diddy's room for a party after meeting him at a topless club in Japan. She and her friends were expecting to just attend a party, but Diddy was alone in his room when they arrived. She claims they then engaged in a consensual sex encounter. Jennifer Lopez has yet to comment on Diddy's legal trouble.
You freeze. You're in shock. I mean, children aren't supposed to handle that sort of stuff. I can tell you that the number one problem in Hollywood was and is and always will be pedophilia.
Nobody talks about pedophilia.
It's the big secret.
And it's widespread?
Oh, yeah. I was surrounded.
A 13-year-old girl claims that she was mistreated at one of Diddy's parties after being drunk with the ACT, which was allegedly witnessed by Diddy and another unidentified celebrity. This particular accusation raises the stakes significantly because it implies a network of complicity within the entertainment industry. One lawsuit in particular has received a lot of attention for involving other celebrities.
Breaking news to get to: a civil lawsuit has been filed against Jay-Z, saying the rapper raped a 13-year-old girl back in 2000. The suit alleges that Jay-Z, whose real name is Sean Carter, raped the girl after the Video Music Awards alongside Sean Diddy Combs. The victim says she was invited to an after party after being spotted by a limo driver and was then assaulted by both rappers. Jay-Z is calling this a blackmail attempt. He released a statement on social media responding to the lawsuit, and Texas attorney behind the legal action saying in part, "These allegations are so heinous in nature, you have made a terrible error in judgment, thinking that all celebrities are the same. I look forward to showing you just how different."
Busby's strategies, like establishing a toll-free hotline for tip-offs, have been described by Diddy's lawyers as publicity stunts intended to harm Diddy's reputation. Diddy's legal team has strongly refuted the accusations, calling the cases disgusting and accused accusers of pursuing a speedy payout.
First, we have Tony Busby, who was sued for extortion. Then we have Busby suing back, also claiming harassment. And then we figure out that Jay-Z is somehow involved in all of this in a way, allegedly. What do you make of that?
Well, this is really taking quite a turn. So what you have here now are 3 additional parties in what was really a prosecution of Sean Combs and a bunch of civil cases against Sean Combs. So now you add to that Tony Busby, who's a very prominent lawyer. He's been down this road before. He was down this road with Deshaun Watson, so he's used to this kind of case. And by all appearances,
the legal team is actively defending against significant charges that carry a potential life sentence. Having entered 2 not guilty pleas, they are contesting the seriousness of the accusations. Mark Agnafilo, a well-known lawyer with a track record of managing intricate cases, is leading his defense.
These lawyers were so eager to keep him out of jail, they offered his palatial $48 million home in Miami Beach and his private jets as bail. Today, they are even offering to restrict female visitors to his homes, except for his mother, daughters, and the mothers of his children if he is released. They told the judge the jail he was being sent to is dreadful, dirty, inhuman, and an ongoing tragedy.
How's your dad doing? How's your dad doing?
Family members appeared somber as they arrived at federal court in Manhattan today in another attempt to get.
Additionally, Jay-Z has vehemently refuted the accusations made against him, claiming that lawyer Tony Busby attempted to extort him. In a statement, his legal team contends that the allegations are baseless and are being used as a tactic to coerce him into paying financial settlements through public scrutiny. According to Jay-Z, the accusations were a component of a bigger blackmail plot that Busby was masterminding.
Listen to what Jay-Z had to say, because he released the statement after the filing of this lawsuit, and it reads in part, quote, "My lawyer received a blackmail attempt called a demand letter from a lawyer named Tony Busby. What he had calculated was the nature of these allegations and the public scrutiny would make me want to settle. No, sir, it had the opposite effect. It made me want to expose you for the fraud you are in a very public fashion. So no, I will not give you one red penny. These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. Would you not agree? These alleged victims would deserve real justice if that were the case."
Last month, a lawsuit was filed against Busby by an anonymous celebrity who claimed Busby was trying to extort money from them. Busby fired back with this statement on X last night, naming Jay-Z as the anonymous celebrity who sued his firm, and he also says Jay-Z has tried to bully and harass him and this plaintiff, and his conduct has had the opposite impact. He goes on to say, "She is emboldened, and I'm very proud of her resolve."
However, Busby's history and midday strategy support the gravity of these accusations. A seasoned attorney and former Marine, Busby's Instagram post declaring, "I am a U.S. Marine, I won't be silenced or intimidated," demonstrates his determination to seek justice for his clients despite allegations of extortion or intimidation.
Celebrity who remains anonymous is suing the Houston attorney who's representing several people in lawsuits against Sean Diddy Combs. The lawsuit accuses Tony Busby and his firm of shamelessly attempting to extort exorbitant sums from him or else publicly file wildly false, horrific allegations against him. Now, on Instagram, Busby denied the claims against him, saying that his firm won't allow the powerful and their high-dollar lawyers to intimidate or silence sexual assault survivors.
Well, now Tony Busby is responding and basically saying that Jay-Z was the high-profile celebrity that was recently suing him. So Tony Busby says this in a statement regarding the Jay-Z case and his efforts to silence my clients. Mr. Carter previously denied being the one who sued me and my firm. He filed this frivolous case using a pseudonym. What he fails to say in his recent statement is my firm sent his lawyer a demand letter on behalf of an alleged victim, and that victim never demanded a penny from him. Instead, she only sought a confidential mediation.
Diddy must deal with the consequences of incarceration in addition to legal issues while he awaits trial at Manhattan's Metropolitan Detention Center. According to sources, Diddy has been placed under suicide watch at MDC, which is well known for its tough conditions, and has held well-known inmates like R. Kelly. This story is corroborated by Gene Deal, a former bodyguard who voiced concerns about Diddy's health.
The lifestyle that he had, I'm not saying that he can't. I just don't see him able to do time behind bars. Maybe if he'd be in a camp type situation, that's a possibility. But based on the lifestyle and what he's done and what he's accomplished, if he had to go behind those bars for a lot of years, I think that
It was revealed by People Magazine in an exclusive that Diddy has been placed under suicide watch. So People Magazine in their exclusive said that Sean Diddy Combs is on suicide watch as he awaits trial in Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center. They said he was remanded, as you know, to MDC on Tuesday after pleading not guilty and being denied bail twice. People says that it's not known if Combs is suicidal or how long he's been on suicide watch. Sources tell People that it is for preventative measures as Combs is in shock and his mental state is unclear. According to the U.S. Department of Justice National Institute of Corrections, suicide watch is, quote, supervisory precautions taken for suicidal inmates that require frequent observation. During this court's hearing, Combs' attorney asked the judge for the music mogul to be transferred to a prison in Essex County in New Jersey. The decision was ultimately put in the hands of the Bureau of Prison. You may recall this detention center is the same one that R. Kelly.
From a legal standpoint, Diddy's team is engaged in a multifaceted battle. In an attempt to dissuade some accusations, they have asked the courts to disclose the identity of the anonymous litigants. Busby, however, has objected to this strategy, stating that his clients are ready to come forward if needed.
Prosecutors are arguing is not only does your client pose a flight risk, because obviously he's incredibly wealthy, has access to planes and a lot of staff, even though you said he turned over his passport to you months ago. They were also worried about him being able to interfere with witnesses and calling them. And so I guess the question is, how do you assure the court that that won't happen if prosecutors are saying this is someone who's attempted to bribe security staff and has already threatened and interfered with witnesses?
So I think that the most important thing, even more important than the passport, is that Mr. Combs came to New York on September 5th. As soon as we realized that this indictment was going to be coming down in a matter of weeks, maybe months, but sometime soon, Mr. Combs got on a plane, left his home in Florida, flew to New York. I called the prosecutors myself. I said, Mr. Combs is in New York. Do you want to know where he is? If you want to know where he is, I'll tell you where he is, but he wants to surrender. He's here to surrender. They didn't want him to surrender because if he surrenders, they don't get to tell the judge that he's a flight risk and he's a danger. Because who, as a danger and a flight risk, would fly to New York and surrender? So they didn't want him.
The Fifth Amendment's function in postponing civil cases until after the criminal trial is over is another factor contributing to Diddy's problems. With the criminal trial scheduled for May 2025, this legal safeguard guards against self-incrimination in civil processes that might affect the criminal trial. Diddy is going through a protracted time of turmoil on both a personal and legal level.
Developing at 5, music mogul Sean Diddy Combs back inside a federal courtroom here in New York.
All right, a trial date's now been set for May 5th of next year. Lisa Evers live in Lower Manhattan with the very latest today. Lisa.
Well, Stephen, Natasha, this was Sean Diddy Combs' third time in the courthouse you see right behind me. His first time before a new judge. They did handle these calendar matters and also set that May 5th, 2025 date for the trial to begin. But what was most
This appearance will probably shed more light on the case as the May trial date draws near, and any updates on the accusations of racketeering and trafficking observers will be interested to watch how Diddy and his legal team handle the difficulties that lie ahead in the meantime.
Rapper and producer Sean Diddy Combs will stand trial on federal trafficking and racketeering charges in May. He'll be held in prison until then. Sean Combs has pleaded not guilty to charges that he used his business empire to transport women and male sex workers across state lines to take part in recorded sexual performances. If convicted, he could face a life sentence. David Willett.
Numerous legal experts are voicing doubts about whether P. Diddy's trial will start in May, pointing to the case's complexity due to the participation of several minor victims.
Am I crazy to think that there's no way this trial is then going to happen in May?
It's unlikely, especially if there's a superseding indictment involving minors, because minors present a completely different set of circumstances. Because we know through his lawyers, Combs is arguing that this sexual activity happened, but it was consensual. Of course, trafficking, you need one of those three elements: force, fraud, or coercion. Obviously, minors cannot consent to any sexual activity, so that would be a very different defense entirely. The defense would have to be that the activity didn't happen at all and the individuals are lying. So I think that's going to be the potential game changer if we do get the minors wrapped up into a superseding indictment. And we know, at least if you believe the civil attorneys, there are 25 minor victims, one of which is a...
Am I insane to believe that this trial will not take place in May? It is improbable, particularly if there is a supplemental charge including children, as we know from his attorneys that kids present a very different set of circumstances. Holmes claims that although the activity took place, it was voluntary. Of course, trafficking requires one of those three components: corruption or force fraud, given that minors are obviously unable to consent to any sexual activity. That would be a completely different defense. The defense would have to be that the act never happened and that the people are lying. If we do get the minors involved in a superseding indictment, and we know that there are 25 minor victims, one of whom is as young as 9, what do you think about these startling revelations about Diddy? Do you think that as this investigation develops, more well-known identities will come to light? Please share your ideas in the comments section below.